In this video, we will discuss what is ASP.NET MVC and what are its advantages. As we know, ASP.NET is a server-side web application framework based on the .NET framework. We can build web applications in ASP.NET using two different approaches, WebForms and MVC. WebForm was a replacement for active server pages, which was the technology that was used prior to WebForms for web application development. WebForms creates a higher level abstraction over a stateless web. So this makes developing web applications faster, or as we say, it is a rapid application development platform. It makes developing web applications appear just like developing Windows applications, as it encapsulates things like state and provides server-side event handlers. But web forms have certain disadvantages. First, code behind is tightly coupled to the UI. So we end up with some presentation logic in the code behind. This is not a very good architecture as it mixes the UI code and the application code. So this leads to maintenance problems. Also because of this, automated testing is really difficult as it is difficult to test the different components in isolation. Second disadvantage of web forms is it provides very less control over the generated HTML. As in web forms, most of the times we are not sure what HTML will be generated by the server controls. So this makes integration with JavaScript or other JavaScript frameworks like jQuery very difficult. Third disadvantage is that if we have many controls on the page, then view state can be considerably large for the page, which can obviously impact the performance of the application. MVC provides solution to these problems. So first and the biggest advantage of MVC is it provides separation of concerns. So we have three separate components: view, model, and the controller. So this leads to better maintenance and unit testing, as the different components can be tested in isolation. We have full control over the HTML and the JavaScript that is generated by the application. So it makes integration with the client-side frameworks like jQuery very easy. Also in MVC we have no view state, which improves the performance of the application. So these are few of the advantages. Also, as MVC is a newer framework, so it is built with testability in mind. So it supports concepts like test-driven development. Applications based on the MVC are split into three main parts or components: model, view, and the controller. Each of these three parts has its own responsibility. Model contains the data for the application. Also it may contain the business rules for the application. So it basically represents the domain that the application works with. View represents the user interface, which displays the data to the end user. So it is the UI that the user interacts with to access our application. Controller, it is one of the most important component in an MVC application. It receives the request from the user, performs an operation on the model, and then it decides the view to render the model data. So uh, you have seen that in MVC there is a separation of concern. So we can very easily replace any of the components. Because of these advantages, MVC is useful for developing applications that are easier to maintain and unit test. So depending on the application that you are developing, if you want to develop application that is easier to maintain in future, that is also very easy to unit test, or if you want to test the application using working frameworks, then MVC is the better approach for developing web applications in ASP.NET.